5 minutes for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the witnesses for being here. When it comes to energy policy, I do believe in an all of the above approach, but when you compare nuclear energy to renewable, the difference in energy density is very clear. A nuclear facility offers 24/7 baseload energy, consistent baseload energy. It'll operate for 60 years at least, maybe longer. Mr. McCown, I was pleased to see that you mentioned small modular nuclear in your written testimony. Based on your expertise, what reforms do you think we need to pursue through Congress to unleash nuclear energy and remove the barriers to construct more nuclear power in the United States, particularly the small modular reactors, because we're falling behind. China's already got one operating, and even Romania is doing some really good work in that area.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for the question. Part of this is a public policy issue. Part of this is outreach and education. For the first time in a generation, we have a large percentage of people across all age groups seeing nuclear energy as a positive. Mm-hmm. We have to move beyond our thoughts of what nuclear power are, because the designs are not what they were in the 70s, and we've got an NRC that has spent most of its time as an agency not permitting anything.
Well, an interesting thing too is the advance in technology with these advanced reactors. You can recycle spent fuel rods. We had a hearing and had the National Director of the Nuclear Laboratories here, and a lot of people don't realize this, but a spent fuel rod literally retains 90% of its energy capacity. We can recover 98%. And I asked the Director of the National Nuclear Laboratory how long we could operate our fleet, and he said over 100 years, just using spent fuel. The other thing that I want to talk about here just for a moment is we talk a lot about energy independence, but I think we're at a major place in terms of critical minerals and rare earth independence. Right now, there's not a single major refinery for rare earth elements in the Western Hemisphere. There's only 9 in the world. 8 of them are in China, and I'm talking about major refineries. China controls 70% of the cobalt mining and 80% of the processing. They control over 90% of the rare earth refining. I'm a big proponent of nearshoring our supply chain, but also I think we need to do a whole lot more here in terms of our domestic production, of the mining, the production side of it, the refining side of it. What are some of the barriers that we're facing here, Mr. McCown, and the others of you can respond to this as well if you'd like, in terms of permitting timeline, because I don't think we've got 7 to 8 years to get a permit in regard to where China's heading, particularly if we want to be competitive in artificial intelligence.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Palmer. Very quickly, and Mr. Peters is exactly correct. We have a difficult time building anything these days. The infrastructure, we need NEPA, true NEPA permitting reform. We have to be more nimble. We have to be more quick than we have done. We have difficulty mining uranium. 70+% to 80% of the entire supply chain for renewables is from China. That's worse than Middle Eastern oil, in my personal opinion.
It is truly, and I want to emphasize this, and I want to emphasize to my colleagues across the aisle, this is a national security issue. We will not compete with China. We're in an arms race in artificial intelligence with China, and we don't have the mineral production, the mining, the processing, the refining to be competitive. We will fall behind. They've already cut us off from gallium, germanium, antimony. We're really in a bad place. So I think, Mr. Chairman, we need to really make it a priority of this committee to work on these issues because we don't, like I said, we don't have 7, 8, or 9, 10 years to do this. And going back to AI, with China's release of their DeepSeek AI model, it was a bit of a shockwave. But for us to compete, we not only have to have these other address these issues, critical minerals and rare earths, but we've got to address the issue of being able to provide the energy that we need. And we're not going to do it with renewables, with all due respect. So I think we've really got to have a focus on how do we utilize hydrocarbon energy as we advance our energy production through nuclear. And with that, any of you, Ms. Eversole, Mr. Arnold, may respond.
If I may, the gentleman's time has expired, but if you could write a written response to that, we'd appreciate that.
I yield back.
Thank you. The gentleman yields back.